So, what are we up to for today? Well, stick around. I'll show you. Welcome to 3D Accuracy, where I'll talk about 3D printing, 3D product design, and 3D injection and die-cast mold design. Now that I have the wiring completed, well, not completed, I still have to attach it in the sub panel, connect the wires to the circuit breaker box, and I still have to connect everything on this end. And that's what we're up to for today, is I want to get the phase converter box mounted to the wall. I need to get the motor in position and wired up, and the transformer, and also the air compressor. So let me show you what that's going to look like. What I need to do is get all four components, which are the transformer that goes with the machine, the motor, the idler motor for the three-phase, the three-phase panel, the converter box, and this air compressor, because that air compressor is necessary to run the machine. I need to get all of that situated in this area right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this blue painter tape and I'm going to measure off and mark where each component is going to go, basically. So I know how high the idler motor and the transformer is, and I need to make a platform, because over the top of those two, I want to put the idler motor in the back and the transformer in the front, and then build a platform out of wood over the top of it so I can put the air compressor on top of that platform. The other thing I want to do is, once I do that, then I'm going to read through the instruction manual one more time, make sure I've got everything correct. And before I start cutting the cables and hooking everything up, all the wire, I want to make sure that I haven't missed anything. So since I've never done this before, I'm not going to rush through it. I'm going to do it nice and slow and make sure I don't make any mistakes. That's what we're up to. I just yesterday finished off a customer's job and sent them all the files for a big mold. So I've got 4 days in a row here I can play in the shop and get this machine up and running, which I'm really excited about. We should get the machine running in the next couple of days. Okay, so let me do some of this stuff and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, let me show you what I have so far. I've moved some of that stuff over out of my way a little bit. And so I've marked the wall with blue painter's tape so I know where everything is going to go. And the two bottom marks on this side and this side indicate the width and the height of the platform that I'm going to build to encase the idler motor and the transformer. I'm going to put those two things in there. And I'm going to see how that's going to work. I got to look at the idler motor and see if it needs to be lubricated on occasion or not. I believe this one does not need lubrication, but I want to verify that before I put it in the back, because if it does, then it's a hassle to get at it, in which case I'll move it to the front position, put the transformer in the back, and then that way I can more easily get at the motor if it needs maintenance on occasion. So anyway, that gives me a rough indication of where that is. And then the next little square corners here indicate the position of the air compressor. When I put it up on the platform, that's where the air compressor will be. Now it'll be about, a good 4 inches off the wall. So that stuff is going to be forward just a little bit. I'm not going to pin it up against the wall tight because I need it, the ventilation. I want everything to breathe and have room to vibrate a little bit without banging on something else and making noise. And then this here indicates the size of the panel, the three-phase panel that's over here on the floor, and I've got all the openings punched out on the bottom of the panel for the circuit breaker and the plug and the cables that are going in and out. One goes in from the main power that's coming from the sub panel across the shop. That one will loop up and under and go inside, and then there'll be one that comes out and goes down to the motor down on the ground there. And this little thing indicates the position of the plug. That's where the plug is going to be when it sticks into the bottom bottom of the panel, so I know I've got a space between the plug and the top of the air compressor where the cord can kind of flex and bend. It's a relatively flexible cord here, so this shouldn't give me a problem to put that in and then bend it just a little bit so that it gets over the edge of the air compressor and goes down behind it. I'm going to replace this plug with a new one. I've got a brand new one, so I'm going to replace that. And anyway, that's about where everything's going to go. So I can see it's going to fit, and it's not too terribly high. Now the air compressor is going to stick out a little bit, and I probably won't be able to reach over everything and get to the panel, but I can go in this position here because the air compressor is going to be roughly here, so I can stand to the side of it, and you can see I can easily reach the panel, and the panel is going to stick out from the wall, so I can easily turn it on and off. I can reach underneath this edge here and flip the circuit breaker so that once the three-phase is up and functional and running, the idler motor is running, supplying the third leg of the power, then I can flip the circuit breaker to provide electricity to the transformer and then on to the machine. So I can get at it without a problem, and everything seems to fit in that space. So now I'm going to go ahead and mark the wall where the screws need to go, and then because I'm gonna hit the 2x4 here. There's a 2x4, you can hear it. See, my father taught me this years ago when I was a kid. Here's the 2x4, here's the hollow. See, there's no 2x4 here. You can tell it's hollow like a drum. Here, it's tight. There's a 2x4 right there. So this edge of the panel, I'm going to be able to screw directly into the 2x4, which is good. And then on this other side, I have some of these little goodies that I picked up at Lowe's. That's these things here that go in the wall for getting into the drywall. And I used them when I did the clamps that go over the cable, that hold the cable to the wall. I had to use them there because, of course, I could only get one side, get a screw to hit a 2x4, the other side no. So I had to use them there, and they seem to work pretty good. They seem to be very tight, so I'm happy about those. I'll go ahead and put two of those on the other side of the panel. But I do want to hit the 2x4. I don't want to just depend upon drywall to hold the whole weight of the whole thing. So as long as I got 2x4 on one side, I'm happy with that. So, okay, now it's mounting this panel up. Then I can bring the wire down and screw it to the wall. I've got some clamps to screw it, so I'll be able to catch that same 2x4 with the clamp and then clamp over this direction to hold those two wires. And then this 8 gauge, I'm going to loop it around the bottom of the box, and it'll just hang on the wall and loop back up, and then I'll attach it so that it's not, vibrating and going all over the place. But there's plenty of room because, like I said, the air compressor is going to be off the wall, so I've got plenty of room to run cables behind it. It's just a matter of, fitting everything in there so I can get at it easily enough and do what I need to do. Okay, so let's see if I can get that box mounted. I'm probably going to have my wife give me a hand because it's too heavy to hold that and try to put screws in all at the same time. So I'm going to need her either to drive the screws while I hold it or help me hold it a little bit so that I can drive the screws. One or the other, we'll get it up there. Okay, I'll show you what that looks like when I get that up. Making some progress. Check this out. Let me show you what it looks like. I have the 3-phase panel mounted to the wall. I have the wire that comes all the way from the other side of the shop by the sub panel, loop down under, back up into the box. I don't have it connected yet. You see, nothing's connected. I just have all the wires in there loose, but I've got it secured. And I also have the other line, that 10 gauge wire, down to the outlet. I decided to put it here. I was going to put it back here, kind of behind the machine a little bit, but then I decided, you know, I want to run the air compressor, which is going to sit right in this position, right in front of it, and I have an extra outlet that's on a separate circuit breaker. These two are split onto two different circuit breakers, so everything in the shop has its individual circuit breaker. The air compressor has one all for itself. The printer has one all for itself. All these printers have a circuit breaker all for themselves, so I can run as many machines at the same time as I want without tripping any breakers. So anyway, I decided to put it there instead. So I've cut that long loop out of the way, and you see it's laying on the floor over here now. I just pushed it on the side. But this is the wire that I'm going to double back and make two lines coming from those three machines over there up and over and to the sub panel, all 110, 120 volt lines, nothing fancy, but I'm going to run two up and over the roll-up door to feed those machines. And so, but that'll be next. First, I want to get this guy up and running. This is the most important thing for right now. So that's all the progress I think I'm going to make for today. It's cruising on 5:30, and I got a couple of things I need to do. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you're ever in need of 3D product design, 3D injection mold design, 3D die-cast mold design, or 3D printed prototypes or production parts, please feel free to contact me. You can find contact information in the video description. I look forward to hearing from you and to being of service to you. Thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate it. See you on 3D Accuracy's next video.